I've always wanted to give photography a try. I mainly do portraits. I love kids. I love to be able to capture their expression. So it's been really great to be part of the organization and just getting to know all of the other artists. And it's inspiring too, just being around creative people. I love seeing all the artwork, paintings, pottery, jewelry, because then that makes me more inspired and more creative too, as you're part of this network.
Hello and welcome. On this season of the podcast, I get to sit down with artists and sponsors involved in the 2024 studio tour put on by Great Falls Studios in Virginia. And this is the annual art festival where visitors have access to creators with an emphasis on learning about and sometimes getting involved in the artist's creative process. The tour takes place this year on Saturday, October 19th and Sunday, October 20th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can find out more on www.greatfallsstudios.com. So that's www.greatfallsstudios.com. Thank you and enjoy the show. All right. Well, today we've got Maureen Cryer upstairs, actually, from my studio. So I have the pleasure of hearing her working up above. Paperkite photography, studio photographer, and she'll tell us more. But we've been having fun looking at her studio there. So she's got a painted wall to her left, and we've got some lights, and we've got a hair blower to have like a wind effect. We've got extra lights. We've got some examples of her work there. So welcome, Maureen. Yeah, it is a lot of fun. So so you've moved in. How long have you been there now? Time flies.
I moved in February. So what is that? So about 5 months.
A few months. Yeah, something like that. So it has flown by, hasn't it? So you've moved here from.
So originally I was just working out of my home. So I've been doing this for almost 11 years now, and it's gone from part-time to more full-time. But everything was on location, and this is my first commercial space. So I'm very excited to be in the Great Falls Village Center.
Nice. And are you originally from here?
I am. I grew up in Annandale, and then I moved away after college went to San Diego, Chicago, and moved back here.
Nice. Picked up a family along the way?
Yes.
And your background is architecture?
Yes. So I went to school for architecture, and I did that for a while. And then after my son was born, we were in Chicago. We were trying to figure out where to live, and we decided to move back here, and then in the process decided to give photography a try. I've always wanted to try it. I love it. Had my first camera when I was in elementary school, and never thought that I could actually do this, and saw other people doing it and thought I'd give it a try.
So what is it about photography that you like?
So I mainly do portraits, and I love kids, and I think I love to be able to capture their expression, how they are, not a posed picture so much, but just them having fun and seeing the wonder of the world. So I go on sessions and I play games with them and try and get them to just be themselves and run around and be crazy.
And get the moment where their eyes really light up, right? Like that's what I always enjoy with kids. It's just, gosh, my dad was always, he worked in like a department store, doing kids photographs. He was like, make the kids laugh. And so he would know a fair. So it's nice to have that connection there. So what kind of camera do you work off?
So I have a Canon 5D Mark III, which is a DSLR camera. And I also have a mirrorless Canon, the R6 Mark II. So I'm using both of them right now.
Have you always worked in the digital realm?
No,
except for when you were in elementary school.
So way back it was film. I did do I took some courses in college where I was in a dark room, and I actually really liked that as well.
Yeah.
Once I started doing this professionally, though, it was always the digital camera.
Sure. Yeah, the darkroom days, I did my fair bit in the darkroom, and those are very fond memories. What do you remember what it was like the first time you got your camera and you started taking pictures, and then you said, "Mom, Dad, I need to get this developed," and all this stuff? You took it to the photo house, or whatever the name
exciting.
of this, right?
And to get it back, yes, I loved getting it
back. The contact sheet and the negatives and like checking everything out. And you maybe out of like a roll of the smells. Yeah.
In the dark room. I mean, that was later on in college, but being in there and seeing the image emerge on the paper was really exciting.
Right? Yeah. So, I just always laugh because when I look back, I went on some pretty big trips after I graduated from college, and I just had, old fashioned camera, and because digital just wasn't out yet. And I just remember being like, oh my gosh, like out of a roll of 18 or whatever, you've got 2 good pictures or something, And now it's just amazing, even just on my phone, just being able to kind of like seize on the right second, the right millisecond or whatever it is to make sure. And oh God, it's just amazing, how far we've come in a short period of time with photography.
Definitely. Yeah. So one thing, talking about the capturing, like the millisecond when you have to click the shutter to capture that. I love doing jumping photos. So with kids, I always have them try and jump and capture them in the air.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I had a very terrible jumping. I'm not very good at jumping for cameras because I remember I was part of a wedding party and they said, okay, everybody 1, 2, 3, jump. And there was like 20 of us, right? So we jumped, and I was always like, everybody else was up here. And for some reason I was always like that. And I was just like, wow, I really don't like to jump. So it's always funny. But when you were in elementary school, what did you, or, when you first started out doing photography, did you like taking pictures of your friends? Like, was it always portraiture, or did you like architecture? Because you got into architecture. I'm just curious about kind of your flow.
Sure. Pretty much everything. I took photos of buildings, landscapes. I do love macro photography too. Close-up photography. And then when I was living in Chicago, I guess going back to elementary school, the dream was always like you could be a National Geographic photographer and travel the world. I would love to do that. And I love animals and seeing all of that. But it's very competitive, and I didn't think I could do that as a career. So I ended up going for architecture. And I love architecture too. And I love design, and I was always good at math. Pretty much anything that you can create or design, I love. And photography can be very creative as well.
Sure.
And then, so I was working in architecture for a while. And on my street, there's a children's photography studio. And I'd walk by it every night, and I'd peer in. I'd see somebody else doing. I never really thought about doing families and kids. And I saw that she was able to do it. And I thought, well, why can't I? And then when we moved here, decided to give it a try. And then in that time period in Chicago, I ended up taking photography classes. And I worked very briefly for a newborn photographer as well to see how I liked it. And I ended up going back to architecture then. But
oh my gosh.
So now back to
so cute
photography.
Yeah.
So it's been great so far. I love it.
I guess your children inspired you, I imagine, to go into children's photography. But overall, would you say what inspires you about photography? If you could articulate it.
I guess just creating something and seeing that I can capture that, and you're freezing a moment in time. Even if, say a sunset, this beautiful sunset, and then you look at that picture later and you react to it, or it creates a good memory, or you love the colors in it or the composition. So I like looking at the composition as well. And the way the light, like how the light looks in the photo can make or break a really great photo, I think.
Right.
So just that it evokes an emotion in you, I guess.
You can answer this as it relates to either your studio work or just photography in general. Sure. What's your process, would you say?
So should I explain how I go through with my business, I guess?
Well, I guess just kind of, I guess more like, to kind of, your essence is to capture the moment. And, let's say you've got, I'll just say that you're going to choose kids photography or something like that, sure. Like how do you step through it kind of thing? And
well, one thing I like to do is to meet beforehand with the client, and say, for example, with kids, we talk about the location of what they're looking for, whether it's outdoors or a studio background like this. But I also like to get to know what the kids' interests are as well. So I love showing what the interests are as well. And I do love black and white photography. So part of also finding out what the kid is interested in, when we're going through the session and I'm taking the photos, I remember that, they like trucks or Pete the Cat or Elmo or whatever, ice skating, whatever they're interested in. And so I have some way to get to know that what they like and to relate to them to help make them comfortable too. So I have a good way to talk to them.
Right.
I guess.
Yes. Yeah, and relate to them and kind of open them up. Yeah, my own daughter at first, I remember we had a photographer in for for last year's studio tour. And, I just said, okay, well, let's just do one of our paintings here. And she was very shy at first. And then as she started to paint, she chose like the smallest canvas. And then she got kind of energized by somebody there taking interest in her and, taking these photographs. And she said, I want the next one. And then finally she did 3 that day and she did a big one. And it was the first time and it actually propelled her art forward. It was very interesting. So it's interesting working with kids, every kid's going to be different, but it can really gel, over time. Do you give yourself like about an hour's time or so? Or
sure, for the session, depending on the age of the kid, typically an hour to an hour and a half, I would say after that. But some of the best photos come at the very end where you think you're done and then all of a sudden they start goofing off and then I'll take some photos and those turn out to be the best ones because they're just having a great time with their family or their brother or sister or whatever they're interested in, throwing leaves in the air.
Yeah.
So they get excited too.
Yeah.
And they're curious. They want to come and look at my camera. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, that's good. No, that's fine. That's good. You kind of inspire them to pick up a camera eventually and if not right away. So is there like a memorable kind of photo shoot at any point that, you want to share or?
Oh, they're all great.
Elementary school. From elementary school.
I had 3 young boys in recently that were, I think all under the age of 6, and they just made me laugh. And one of the things I did after the session is I have a white backdrop. So we did some photos with the white backdrop and I gave them some crayons and I just let them color on the white paper and I tore it off and they could take it home. So they had this nice big drawing and the mom sat down with them and drew. And so it was nice trying to add something to the session that they could have fun with as well.
Yeah.
And just seeing the different personalities of the 3 boys and they're a lot of fun.
Very nice. This kind of segues a little nicely into studio tour. So you're going to be participating for your first time in studio tour this year.
Yes, I'm very
excited. So it's Saturday and Sunday. What do you have planned?
Something interactive with kids. I'm not sure exactly what yet, whether something like coloring, like I just described, or taking photos with a special backdrop. But I'd like to do something that would engage everybody as they come through.
Yeah.
And
something
fun.
Sure. Oh, that's great. I guess I'm just going to look at like your inspirations for your photography.
Sure.
Are there any photographers in mind, or anybody who you knew that inspired you, or that you admire in particular?
I would say way back when, Ansel Adams was definitely a big inspiration. More, especially with the black and whites and landscape.
Sure.
There are so many in the industry that I've looked towards learning from. One that I really like is Shannon Squire Toes. She does creative fine art kids photography and I would like to do more of this, where you add their interests into the photo. Another photographer I really like is Tim Walden. I've taken one of his classes where he specializes in black and white and just the connection, trying to show the connection between your family in the photo. Ann Getty's way back when with the babies.
Yes.
The flowers and...
Yeah, she was like the floral and plant kind of babies, right?
And the baby would be within I can't remember, the tulip or...
Yeah. Or like the little peas in the pod or something like that.
Yes. Yeah, right. The peas in the pod. And so you can get really creative with your setup as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Have there ever been pets? Have there ever been dogs and cats included in the photo shoot?
Oh, for sure. I love doing animals. I don't know if you can... Should I turn here?
Yeah. You can show us around.
If you can see way back there, it might be too hard to see. I don't know if I can zoom in. But it's my cat, and there's a crown on her head.
Okay. Oh, that's cute. So there you go.
I can always take it off the wall.
You are.
But I love photographing mainly dogs, I guess, more so than any other animals, dogs and cats. But a lot of times people will bring their dogs on a portrait session. And that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So. Well, that's cute. Part of the Great Falls Studios studio tour involvement is going to be with the, and this is just like a general conversation rather than questions or anything like that. Sure. We're going to have a tent set up for July 4th here in Great Falls Village. And we're going to have like a little car tour. Or not, I don't know if we're going to get the car, to be honest. I'm trying to work with the artist who offered the car, but we might just be walking. So, it's just to... there's going to be a few of us. Yeah, it'll be fun. And there's going to be a lot of artists. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of artists who are out of town. So that's why they can't make it. But anyway, it'll be fun. And I think it'll be, I'll make sure to capture some footage of the whole thing there. And maybe
that's
include
great.
It here or something.
I'll be there.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, and actually, So speaking of Great Falls Studio, as I mentioned, I've been working from home for all this time. So it's been really great to be part of the organization and just getting to know all of the other artists. And it's inspiring, too, just being around creative people. I love seeing all the artwork, paintings, pottery, jewelry, because then that makes me more inspired and more creative, too, as you're part of this network.
Yeah, you attended Art Fest, and then there's things like they have... Thursday mornings over at Katie's here, they have a little gathering. I don't know if you've been to one of those, but
not
you can
to Katie's yet. Just schedule wise, I can't get here that early.
Yeah, it can be a little bit.
In the next few, I will be.
Right. With you can go in with a piece of art or something like that, and you can talk about it with the group and stuff. So and there's always something coming up, some kind of event.
Nice.
So. Yeah. So it's nice, but anyway, it's nice. It's really nice to have you right above me. Kind of starts to.
Oh, it's been great.
Build a stronger community. So I think it'll be. You're really going to enjoy studio tour. It surprised me last year, of all the people just coming around and showing interest. So it's very cool and. I'll have my door open so they can just saunter up to your place. So looking forward to it. It's going to be nice to have a bunch of people milling about and being able to say, hey, check out these places too. So
yes, definitely.
Anyway, cool. How do people find you? What's your website address? What's your Instagram handle? Sure. All that good stuff.
So it's Paperkite Photography. My website is actually www.flypaperkite.com. And I do have an Instagram and Facebook account as well, Paperkite Photography LLC. So cool. It's for Instagram.
Great. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Thank you again.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's an honor to co-chair the studio tour this year with Sandy Buffy. And on behalf of the Great Falls Studios artist community, I'm sending out a big thank you to the tour's corporate sponsors: Emily Marentette Real Estate, Brightview Senior Living Great Falls, Moss Building and Design, RJS Construction, Surrounds Landscaping, Stacy Tucker's State Farm Insurance, Dianne Van Volkenburg at Long & Foster Real Estate, the Residences at Colvin Run, Blue Chicken Bakery, Broadway Gallery, and L'Auberge Chez François. Ooh la la. And a big thank you to all those who make it out to visit us.